Good morning, folks. Everything new under the sun. We're going to take a look at a few things today. First of all, there's kind of breaking news coming out of, well, not kind of, there is breaking news coming out of Israel as it relates to IDLIB, and also a threat of an EMP attack. Now, I saw a couple of YouTube videos this morning. Let's take a quick look at one of them. This one is Greg Hunter, and he is doing an interview with Dr. Dave Chanda. Now, Dr. J, well, let me hide keynote, and we're going to take a look at that in a sec. But this is kind of breaking news coming up on my feed, and I thought it's something you should be aware of. Go to Greg Hunter, and you'll see his latest interview published September 8th, and it says, Dr. Dave Chanda retired from medicine to dedicate himself to his red-hot radio show called Operation Freedom. So he's a political commentator. But what I think is interesting is he says about his Washington D.C. sources, and this is big because we've spoke about EMP blasts in the past, and this would be a game changer for the United States. This could be one reason why there is no more United States in end-time Bible prophecy. And we're going to take a look at verses out of Matthew 24 as it relates to why we speak about all these things. But Dave Chanda says his Washington, D.C. sources say here is what they are really worried about and why there are so many people concerned about what's going on. He says, my sources told me they are very concerned about an EMP event in the near future. Now, again, this is the latest interview with Greg Hunter, who does interviews with economic folks, people who have money or know about money and know about what's going on in the economy. And this Dave Chanda is worried. This doctor, if you want a PhD or some big educational certificate behind a name to believe what he's saying, his sources are saying that they're very concerned about an electromagnetic pulse in the near future. It said that would lead to problems with the rule of law, i.e. martial law in this country, and to the financial markets. That would absolutely collapse the economy if you had an economic or an EMP blast. It says they are concerned about an attack from the deep state as an act of not power, but as an act of desperation. Because they're desperate. The lefty liberals and the deep state, they can't argue with a Trump administration that is ruling at a time when the economy apparently is really, really good, and it's high, and things seem good right now. And so they're warning here of an EMP attack. That's pretty significant. That's pretty interesting information to come out on a USA Watchdog, a Greg Hunter style show. And an intelligent person warning of this, saying his sources are worried about this. The next breaking news is that we have, this is from Israeli News Live, and of course the battle lines are drawn around IDLIB right now. And the situation in IDLIB is apparently, Russia's been bombing IDLIB, and they've been warning of a humanitarian crisis. The U.S. is warning that the Assad regime is readying chemical weapons. And now a suggestion that U.S. and British forces are actually trapped inside IDLIB. You talk about a setup or a stage for bad things to happen. He is saying, breaking news, not only are there allegedly 200 U.S. and British forces trapped in IDLIB, but U.S. media is claiming that Russia has said they will attack U.S. base at Al-Tanf. So he is suggesting that Russia is going to attack a U.S. base in Al-Tanf. So, you have these superpowers going head-to-head, apparently, if this is correct. The Al-Tanf allegations are false. Syria said they would not hold back in removing ISIS forces in the area of Al-Tanf. So this is, Israeli News Live. Whatever credibility you give to him for the reporting here, and I don't know, again, where this is coming from, but he says, so I'm just looking at other news there. So yeah, I mean, if there's U.S. and British soldiers in IDLIB, meanwhile Russia's bombing IDLIB, and they're threatening to go in there with chemical weapons. I mean, you have the two superpowers and Britain, West against East in a sort of a way, Russia against the U.S., and you have a direct confrontation there in IDLIB. I had no idea that there was actually Western forces inside IDLIB. I guess special forces. But that's big news. Now, the question came up on the channel. You have videos about this every day, and they've been the same videos for the last 3-4 years, as long as I've been doing the prophecy updates. And yeah, the reason I do is because the Bible speaks of the last days, about growing pains, and about what would exist in the last days, as it relates to Bible prophecy. Now we're looking at this is Matthew 24, and the disciples asked him, and he says, "What shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?" Look at that. This is from the KJV. What shall be the sign of thy coming, and what shall be the signs of the end of the world? And Jesus said, "Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Christ." And this is in response to the person who asked, why do you do these videos over and over when nothing is happening? The end of the world is not coming. I believe we're almost there. If an EMP attack was to occur, that would catapult us directly into end-time Bible prophecy. What does Jesus say? Many shall come in my name to deceive many, and there will be wars, rumors of wars. Nations shall rise against nations. What do we have? Nations rising against nations. Earthquakes, pestilences. We have Ebola popping up. We had 3 commercial jetliners in the U.S. Quarantine for various sicknesses. You have Ebola exploding in Africa again. You have earthquakes in diverse places. A massive one hit the area around Hokkaido, Japan. You have volcanoes going off, and all around the world. And Jesus said that these are the beginnings of sorrows. This is going to increase in frequency and intensity, as do birth pains. And then what happens as these increase? Then Christians will start being persecuted, and they will deliver you up to be persecuted, to be afflicted. They will start killing Christians. Are you ready, guys? Are you ready for that? Would your faith stand up? Do you have faith to deal with this? And I pray that I have enough faith that would be able to stand up for the name of Jesus in the face of persecution. But it's horrible. If you read about the persecution of Christians who have died, the fathers and mothers and the children who have died, who have been put to death, burned at the stake, where fathers had to watch their children and their wives be burned at the stake before being killed themselves. I mean, you can't fathom the horrible stuff that's happened to Christians in times past. Is your faith able to stand in that? I pray that mine is. I don't know what I would do. I would hope that I would stand fast, but the horrible stuff has happened in the past related to this. Many will be offended and shall betray one another. They shall hate one another. Christians will fall away from the faith. They'll give up. They'll say, this isn't worth it. And there will be false prophets and who will deceive many. And because sin will abound, iniquity, the love of many will grow cold. People will just stop loving. They'll just grow cold. They'll turn away from others and stop. And the community will stop. They'll just turn into themselves and they'll turn into a survival state, effectively. And he that shall endure to the end shall be saved. The gospel of the kingdom shall be preached into all the world to be a witness. And then we get into the abomination of desolation. This is speaking of the 7-year tribulation period. So the period of persecution comes just before the 7-year tribulation, if you look at the timeline represented there. So why do I speak of all these things, economic collapse, war, over and over every single day? It's because the Bible speaks about these things. We know that the Antichrist figure will come in at a time when the world economy has collapsed. So that's why I watch economic stories, because as we get closer to that day of total, complete economic collapse, and the video about Greg Hunter does daily videos about the economy. And one of his commentators, who is in the economy, is now speaking of a potential economic collapse, and his sources are worried about this stuff. So when I speak about these things day in, day out, it's because these things are a clear and present danger. These things are coming upon us, and the Lord is returning soon, and we know that because we see a buildup of these particular events. So I'm looking at, this is my keynote here that I've referred to, and then I'm going to keep updating. But I speak again of wars and violence day in, day out, and economic collapse day in, day out. Even if it doesn't occur in 2018, these things are building to a point. They're converging. News events are converging. They are all fulfilling Bible prophecy. They are increasing in frequency and intensity. And I believe the 7-year tribulation starts around the year 2021, and the end of 6,000 years of man is about 2028. That is basically the age of Israel plus 10 years from now. They're 70 years old now in the year 2018. That's a spike at the very left side of the chart. And we are in the middle of the 3 years, basically from 2018 to 2021. And in this time, I believe in this time, the economy is going to collapse sometime prior to 2021, which will give a mandate to the Antichrist figure, to a one world leader, to a one world government, to implement a one world currency system and present the peace plan. Now, what peace plan will they be using? Which peace plan will be enforced? It could be the one that Trump has on the table right now, which they haven't yet revealed. So when I speak of these things, day in, day out, they are occurring. They are slowly occurring. The economy is getting worse and worse. The bigger we are, the harder we fall in terms of the economy. The higher the economy goes, the harder it will crash when it actually does fall. So, excuse me, I'm a little sick today, but I wanted to get the Sunday video out, and this is going to be a little shorter than normal. I really wish I could do kind of a live stream and just kind of get into a lot of these stories a lot more deeply, but I'm going to have to end it here. But this is the importance to all the news events going on and the stuff happening in IDLIB. This is critical. If there are U.S. troops there and Russia is bombing it, how soon could a trigger event occur? If someone kills a U.S. soldier, you don't think that the United States will want to go to war against whoever killed them? Russia, for example. Russia's already stated that if one of their soldiers is killed, they will bring out nuclear weapons to bear against whoever perpetrates that. And so we have a massive buildup. Things are at a boiling point there. And you have IDLIB, which is this convergence of world government militaries, and apparently U.S. troops and British troops right inside there while bombing is going on, while chemical attacks are being created to be used. You have false flag threats from Russia, and everything is lined up to say, to have these world powers effectively go to war. So you have a trigger event for World War III basically at any time now, at any moment. And what do we hear in Matthew 24? We hear of wars, rumors of wars. So wars happening, and rumors of greater wars to come. All of this has to happen before 2021, so the countdown is on, effectively, towards this time when the world leader, the one world government will come out. And you can't have a one world government and a one world leader without the collapse of the U.S. as a world reserve currency, as a world superpower. And I believe that could happen at any time. And boy, an EMP blast would push us there like immediately. That's kind of why I wonder why this is maybe we're still a bit of a distance out from this happening, because as soon as the U.S. collapses, the world government would be set up. So maybe it happens a little bit closer in time range to the year 2021. But all that being said, you can see the buildup of these things, and these things could occur now, and maybe it would take a couple of years for a world government to get ready and for a world leader to be, organized and voted into power, if they're even voted, who had a mandate to bring in a world economy, a one world government and a mark of the beast system, a one world currency. But anyways, I've rambled on there. I think there's a huge number of critical things going on. Pay attention, guys. I'll put the links to the YouTube videos so you can check them out. But these are key. This is breaking news that's happening, and be prepared, guys. The Lord's returning soon, and Bible prophecy is being fulfilled as we speak. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please share the video. Please support me on Patreon if you're able to. That helps the channel continue. That gives me the ability to continue on and to continue to improve the technology and the videos and to devote time to it as well. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.